What is going on, my New York Giants family? Nice seeing you guys today. I appreciate you guys being able to stop by. Today, as you guys know, Big Blue Topic, episode 7. We got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to get a couple things off my, not just my mind, but Giant Opinion Sports mind today. Again, you guys can find Giant Opinion Sports and the Big Blue Corners links in the description below. Giant Opinion. It's been a little bit since we had a stream together. How you feeling, man? How's everything been?
Everything's been good. It's actually been about 10 years since I could spend some time with family. So I went a week visiting my family, a week visiting the wife's family, and then it's trout fishing season. So I took a week to go fishing. So I'm
Hey,
good,
that's nice,
rejuvenated.
nice, man. Hey, I'll tell you what, trout fishing is fun as hell, man. If y'all haven't, y'all should definitely trout fish. It's really fun. But man, I'm glad to hear that you spent time with your family, that you were able to see them. I mean, family's everything. So I'm really happy to hear that, man. And most importantly, I'm glad that everything is all good. Now I see we got some people in the chat real quick. I see we got Jayden here. Yes, the champ is here. I appreciate you stopping by, brother. Neymar, how you doing, brother? I appreciate you stopping by. Tudo, how you doing, man? Thank you for stopping by. I hope that you guys are doing good over there. Hopefully, no more suspensions for you and
Yeah,
Tudo.
I was about to say, Tudo just got suspended.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Tudo, come on, man. Nah, but I'm glad you're doing good, brother. Mark the Blue Giant, thank you for stopping by, man. So let's get into this a little bit. So as you guys know, Joe Shane had a presser today with the media, spoke for a little bit, spoke about the draft, spoke about James Bradbury for a little bit too. I thought that we got some pretty good quotes from Joe Shane in regards to the Giants going forward. We also got some quotes from Galladay, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Williams too. I think their videos will be posted, if not later today, maybe tomorrow. But we got some quotes from there. So we're definitely going to talk about that. Man, I mean, before we even get into the quotes, I mean, Giant Opinion, I know, you watched it same as I did. I mean, what were your thoughts on Joe Shane's presser today?
I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts, but I did feel like he was a lot more open, with everybody, more honest about a lot of the phone calls and deals and the way he works with the coaching staff and all that. So it is a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody reacts to maybe a GM that's a little bit more forthcoming. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like how straightforward he is, and I like how he speaks with the media. I was never really a fan of how Dave Gettleman went about his business. I mean, I don't want to question him and how he did things, but I mean, for me, it feels like a breath of fresh air. And I really like how Joe Shane again is being pretty straightforward. And I think a lot of fans aren't used to that, and I completely get it. But I really liked again how he spoke with the media today, and there were some quotes in regards to not only just where we are with the roster, but just the draft as well. One of the quotes where, Shane's saying that where we are with our roster, there's several needs. I mean, that's not anything crazy. We all know that. But, he also stated in the same statement that they just want to take the two best players at 5 and 7. Now, Giant Opinion, you and I spoke about it a little bit. He also stated that they received calls for picks 5 and 7. I mean, I think that there are some fans that completely want us to trade back so that we could collect more capital, not just in this draft, but for next year's draft, given if Daniel Jones isn't our starting quarterback. But I mean, could you see 5 possibly being a pick that we trade and maybe we don't move out of 7? I mean, I think a lot of people think that 7's just automatically the pick that's going to be traded if we were to trade out of 5 or 7.
I mean, I think it depends on how they have their board, to be honest with you, and who goes before our picks. I mean, if you see somehow even Charles Cross or something going before our pick, just tackle, 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 then I think it's possible. But then you're probably going to get one of them elite pass rushers, you'd think. So I just don't think five's in play at all. And the way Joe Shane talked about, he was going to need a trade to completely blow him out of the water. Like they basically have to take it. And he's had a couple times basically that we're going to get a couple of really good players. So I think in his mind right now, he's going into the process as we're going to take the two best players on the board. Now he also mentioned that we had more holes on this team than picks in the first round. So he was basically saying, don't count on basically knowing who they're going to be because we have so many different holes. There could
Yeah,
be some surprise picks coming here. Would he also acted weird about a number one corner? Did you pick that up? Because somebody said something
yeah.
about a number one corner in the first five picks. He's like, so you got your crystal ball. There's a number one corner, huh? So maybe he's not sitting really high on one of these on one of these corners for the
I
first
mean,
seven
it's
picks.
possible.
But
It's
that could be a
possible.
smokescreen too. I mean, he could be heavy on one of these corners, and he's saying that as a smokescreen. So I thought that was a little interesting part of it also.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, when you think about it, you got a team like the Jets who are rumored to be interested in Sauce Gardner. I mean, which I think would be the best move for the Jets, if I'm being honest. I mean, you look at the wide receivers you have to deal with in that division. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and I mean, if we have any Jets fans watching this, I mean no disrespect when I say this. Y'all need a corner more than you need an edge rusher because you do not have a corner worth a penny on in that secondary, in my honest opinion, that could hold Tyreek Hill's jock, that could hold Jalen Waddle's jock. I didn't even mention Stephon Diggs. Well, let alone if the Patriots were to go, let's say, a Garrett Wilson in this draft. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do, but I mean, you need to attack that secondary. I know that you look at Rob Saleh, his defense. I mean, when they went and took Bosa, I mean, that it kind of leads you to believe that he may look to take Kayvon Thibodeau if he's there. But if I'm the Jets, I think that Sauce should be that pick. So I mean, that could be a smokescreen. I mean, they could potentially have Sauce higher rated than Kayvon. I would honestly be shocked if Kayvon's there at 5 and they took the offensive tackle. Let's say at 7, they took a quarterback over Kayvon. I mean, I could see it happening. I mean, again, it could be a smokescreen. I'm not entirely sure, but in my honest opinion, man, I can't wait for the draft to come. I mean, we got 8 days. I think that once we get our answers, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this draft plays out. But once we get our answers, man, hopefully that quiets some of you fans down because you guys are acting ridiculous, man. I mean, let me not go on a tangent. Let me not go on a tangent. But let me get to this chat real quick. I am behind. We got some people in here. Kayla, I appreciate you stopping by. Super Taj, thank you for stopping by. Um, but I mean, one of the quotes I definitely wanted to get to was Joe Shane talking about James Bradbury. James Bradbury, which I don't think any of us could blame him, hasn't been at voluntary mini camp. I don't think he should go. But it seems how, and I want to get your opinion, GOS. It seems that while Joe Shane is obviously looking for a place to trade James Bradbury, it seems like he kind of wants to keep him. I mean, he's been pretty vocal about, there's contingencies that would allow the Giants to keep him. But I mean, could you see that happening? I mean, I don't know. I think that we've all kind of assumed at this point that he's going to get traded. But is there a scenario where maybe, they extend Bradbury for another year and, Bradbury's with the Giants in 2022?
Well, when you look at the cap, I don't really see how. I mean, if you don't rework his deal, like Shep did or
Yeah.
Martinez, I really don't see how it works. Especially unless you trade back both. I don't know. Unless you trade back one of them picks way back in the first round or something, that frees up a little bit of money. But I don't
Yeah.
see how, and I'm sure his agent has told him like, you're not going to be on his team next year. And I think if they were going to rework the contract, they would have done it already. I'm pretty sure he's not interested in it. He's got even if he gets cut, he's got 12 million coming his way or something like that, 9 million, something like that. So I'm sure he's comfortable. He's at least played good enough for the last 2 years to get himself a decent little deal somewhere else if he hits the market.
Yeah.
I don't. If they had calls on Bradbury, I don't know why. Obviously, they didn't like what was offered, but they should have taken something already. I don't get it.
And I agree with you, man. I think that if the Giants wanted to keep Bradbury, they absolutely could. I think that they could extend him maybe for another year. But would he take it? I mean, I'm not too sure at this point. I mean, I think that Bradbury, while there is some value to him, I mean, it makes you very curious as to what do the Giants value him as. I mean, like I mean, I'm sure they've gotten a third round pick from from some teams, but I mean, if you're the Giants, if they're offering a third, I mean, I'll be honest with you, GOS. I mean, I'm considering that. I mean, how much higher could you expect to get for James Bradbury? Or maybe they wait to see how the draft plays out and they look at teams that need secondary help.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what
do they
Joe
look at
said.
maybe day two?
That's what Joe said. He's going to start to evaluate it and figure it out after the draft. So
Yeah,
you'd think the
definitely.
draft is a perfect time to move him on to somewhere, but
I
I
mean,
don't know.
and
It's
I think that's what's going to
confusing.
happen. It is confusing. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. To be honest with you, I think that we could see him get traded, during the draft, whether that's day one or day two. I know some people have mentioned the Chiefs. I don't see that happening for at least their first rounder. I've seen some people try to mention that with packaging maybe 36 and James Bradbury for 29. Do the Chiefs do that? I mean, I I don't think that's a bad trade necessarily, but I don't think that's a trade that the Chiefs take. Especially since now Debo is requesting to get traded out of San Francisco, and the Chiefs are linked to that, or at least rumored, to be interested in Debo Samuel.
Well,
But nah,
Bradbury might want to try a trade and sign. So, he might
yeah,
have his agent saying, whoever trades for me, I want a new deal. Because
that's
I
very
mean,
true.
good players want deals, man. They don't like just hanging out in a breeze here on 1 year deals like this, like Bradbury is. So maybe that's the hang up. Maybe he's got a bigger number than anybody wants to pay him.
Yeah, that's very true. And I mean, I think a lot of people look at how James Bradbury played last year compared to 2020, and they automatically label this guy as he's taken a step back. He's getting older in age. I mean, he's still relatively young, for the position. I mean, he's still valuable. I don't think he's a scrub. I think that you look at a team like the Raiders, he would fit perfectly over there. I mean, and they're going to need
Yeah.
some secondary help over there too when you look at that division. Same with the Chiefs. I mean, shoot. I mean, you could also look at a team like the Ravens, possibly. I mean, it's a variety of different ways with how this James Bradbury situation could play out. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he stays with the New York Giants in 2022. And to go to your point, DMAC Warrior, because I saw this and I definitely wanted to highlight this. Where is it at, real quick? Hold on. I gotta find this comment. My bad, DMAC. While I try to find this comment real quick that DMAC left, he pretty much had said that if Bradbury was here in 2022, that we would go edge rusher. I could see that happening, to be honest with you, because I think at that point you don't take another corner. I've already been saying I'm not trying to take a corner in the first round. I don't think our secondary is as bad as some people may think. But again, I'd be pretty shocked if he's here in 2022, but we'll see what happens, man. Jayden, I appreciate that. I am 45 away from 500, so if you guys are watching and haven't subscribed already, join the Hit Squad. Hit the subscribe button below. You can also find Giant Opinion Sports channel in the description, as well as the Big Blue Corners channel in the description below as well. Um, Now, Jayden, I also saw your comment here in regards to giving out mods. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. So once I figure that out, I will definitely be giving them out to a couple of y'all. So I appreciate that, man. Um, Now let me ask you something, GOS, because I think that a lot of fans are overreacting to this. I see some fans are kind of like you and I, where we don't necessarily really care. Uh, Kadarius Toney, man, he hasn't been in voluntary minicamp. There are fans that are making the biggest deal out of this, more than what it is, in my honest opinion. I don't really mind. I mean, I know I said, to you before we went live, I'm not gonna act like I don't got an eyebrow, raised, but it's nothing more than that. It's like for me, I'm in the middle, where it's I don't really care because it's voluntary. I've been saying this, and I said this in the Schoen Presser live chat earlier today to some fans. I mean, Kadarius Toney is our best wide receiver when he's healthy. I'm not worried about if this kid could come in here and ball because I think that he can. But you know, I, you have you have Brian Dable saying that while it is voluntary, players are going to be missing some things during the mini camp. In my opinion, I'm not too worried about that. He is working with his personal trainers. He's getting some work in, but I'm not. I don't know, man. I just think that some fans are overreacting to this.
And I actually heard a reporter say that there was off-field issues from him last year. I heard a reporter say, "Well, are you concerned with him not showing up to voluntary camp with all the off-field stuff we saw? That what off-field stuff? I mean, he
That's what I'm
raps.
saying.
Is that an off-field issue? Listen, it's dead right now. I get that people need to make stories. You know, they need their article every month or every day. Sorry, not month, every day on something, and there's nothing to talk about. It is dead as it gets. So, and they're
Yep.
going to try and create. Odell Beckham made people millions of dollars around this area that were reporters and people who wrote articles and all that and did videos. And I'm sure they would love to have another Odell Beckham situation here. So they're going to try and create it,
Yeah.
and they're welcome to try. But I'm not biting on it. I think unless he gets in legal trouble or we start hearing he's arguing, fighting with coaches, he's not learning to play. Listen, he's got an entire. There's still what two more. There's one more other little involuntary camp coming up, right? And then he got the entire. Oh, then he got preseason. What do they call that right there? While preseason's going on.
What is that? Damn. I know it's not it's a type of mini camp. Hold on. Oh,
Well, it's
OTAs?
no, I can't believe I can't remember that. But anyways, it's like
Yeah, I
six
know. Yeah.
weeks. It listen, they make a big deal out about learning a playbook. They say it's like learning a whole new language. It's not, especially not for a receiver. They have like 8 routes they run.
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
played football, you realize it's not like if anything, it's like 1/10 of a language, and that's if you're like West Coast or something. But you're not going to install an entire West Coast in 1 year on a team. They're going to chop up what they want to run for that year. It's not a huge deal. I'm pretty sure in 7 weeks with a little camp combined with preseason, you can learn to play book. It's just as long as he's
It'll
working.
be
I don't.
fun.
It's just this is baffling for me. I mean, the media does what the media does. Let them do what they want to do, I guess. But I'm not buying any of it at all.
Yeah, and again, I think that right now it's just the dead point. People are just trying to make stories. I'm gonna just say this much, man, and I know that some people may take this the wrong way, and I quite frankly don't care. One thing that some Giants fans are very good at doing is pushing our best players out the door before we could even see them really shine. I mean, and it's just so upsetting. You would think that this kid is a locker room distraction, a toxin that he has off-field issues where he's getting DUIs, he's beating his girlfriend up, he's doing all this shit. He doesn't do anything. The kid doesn't do anything. He when he's
Oh, he
on the field,
raps.
exactly, and people make such a big deal out of it. And I'll tell you this: what's GOS? If Kadarius Toney played the guitar like Rashad Jennings did, or played jazz, I will tell you this much: these fans would not give a damn because they didn't give a damn when Rashad Jennings was open about playing music and even playing live for people, or just playing his guitar or recording his album or and mixtapes. Nobody cared. Nobody gave a damn. But all of a sudden, you get a talent in here that is against the grit. He toys with the media a little bit, which we all do, because I think a lot of us think that the media, outside of a couple, are a bunch of damn morons that like to make these stories up to split fans just to get clicks. So it's like, I mean, this kid, he literally doesn't do anything. He doesn't even open his mouth a lot of the times.
You can tell
And
he don't even
you
want
got
to
fans
talk. He don't
freaking
even want to
out.
talk in them little things. He just wants to play ball, man.
Exactly. And we're not gonna act like when this kid is healthy, he's not our best wide receiver. I'm gonna just say that. I'm not taking Galladay over Kadarius Toney. I'm not taking Darius Slayton Butterfinger ass over Kadarius Toney. Shit, I'm not even taking a healthy Sterling Shepard over Kadarius Toney if KT is healthy. So it's just I'm just I don't understand why fans and look, if this was where the players have to be here and he's not here, I would get it. Yeah, you got to be here. Come be here. It's part of your contract. It's voluntary. I mean, shit. Even Joe Shane said that today with Kadarius Toney because he was asked about Kadarius Toney. He said at the end of the day, it's voluntary. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, dog. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. I mean, I just think that some fans, I mean, they just really overdo it. I think that, and look, if you have issues with him because he's doing things off the field or that he can't stay healthy, Sure, but he's not doing anything off the field that would warrant him to be a distraction. And I mean, you really can't control, injuries. I'm sorry, you can't. I mean, for me, it was enough that this kid put up as much as he did with fucking Mike Lennon throwing him the ball. I mean, come on,
And
man. In a
the way they
Jason
used him
Garrett
the
team.
first, what was it, the first 4 or 5 weeks, the way they
Yeah,
used him as a pure decoy out there, basically. Just trying to run a defender out of the middle of the field. That's pretty much all they were doing with him.
exactly. Exactly. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not worried about this kid. I just think that, and again, you can't control injuries. You can't. But I think that if he can stay healthy, we should have no issues. And I don't think that we're gonna have issues with Kadarius Toney. And it's not like he's, you know, at home sitting on the couch not doing anything. I mean, he is working with personal trainers. He is getting some work in, but I just think that fans, you got to relax, man. I mean,
I think
I'm
the
I'm
only thing
I'm
you could
just
really get on him about was he when he swung that punch last year.
exactly. And,
You know,
and look, I mean, you had the DBs beating up on him, pushing him around. I mean, he's gonna learn. He's
I
gonna
really
learn.
think it was more about because when he got up and turned around, that guy was grabbed onto his teammate too. So I really don't even
Yeah,
think it was so much about him. It was defending his teammate.
which you would
Listen,
want.
maybe he's an emotional kid. I mean, some of the best players that ever played this game. Look at Ray Lewis. I mean, look at all
Yeah.
the greats. I mean, they were emotional, and
You look at
it's like
Steve Smith.
these kids are so young. Yeah, I mean, he's young, and there's going to be hiccups. But as long as he's not getting in trouble off the field, because like I don't see the off the field issues here.
Neither do I.
Am I missing
Neither do I.
something?
No, you're not.
I
You're
don't
not.
see. He don't have court dates lined up for himself. So when that happens, then I'll start to worry a little bit. But until then, and even then, he's going to have no trade value anyway. So, if he's getting in trouble like that, so it don't matter. Then you just move on.
Yeah,
And all that. And Dave Gettleman's gone anyway. So, he's not even part of this new.
I mean,
I
that's
don't think
true.
he's going to have a very long leash. These guys didn't draft him. So, but as for Michael Strahan missed all these things his whole career.
Very
He was a
true.
team leader. So, as long as he's out working, it's just this is a whole big nothing burger. But what the
Eh,
media does, what they wanted to do, they achieved because here we are talking about it, which
yeah.
gets more people to click on their ads. And even if you're clicking on the right on the bottom of it, like, hey, you're an idiot, they're still getting that movement to sell to the people who buy ad space. So they win no matter what. you,
Yeah.
but you don't
eh,
play into it because a lot of what Odell did make mistakes, but a lot of it was just that train momentum that fans went along with a lot of it. So as long as we keep level headed about it, good thing about New York fans, a lot of us are very smart. We are very knowledgeable about the
Yep.
ins and outs and even the off the field stuff. So I have faith in the New York crowd that will stay calm enough about this. There's always going to be the few. So
Exactly. And let me state this. When I'm showing my frustration, it is not with the masses of Giants fans because I agree with you, GOS. I think that we have, a very smart fan base. I mean, we've been through so much just within the last decade where you look at, other teams, I don't think that other fan bases would have been as supportive as Giants fans have been this last decade, let alone would have stuck around. I mean, I'm gonna just say that much. And look, every team has those few in the fan base that can make their fan base look bad. The Giants, we're no different. It's just it's so frustrating for me personally that we get these talented players in here and y'all got to make a story out of nothing. If this kid had issues coming into the league where he has some off the field issues, he's had a DUI, he has a sexual allegation against him, anything like that, then yeah, I'm there with you. This kid hasn't done anything. Let this kid
remember, they
live.
made a
He
big
hasn't
deal about
done
his cleat,
anything.
but the team
Oh,
didn't have his right cleat size. They made a big deal about that. Like somehow
don't
that
even
got put
get me
against them.
started with that, man. I mean, like that's his fucking fault. Like, don't even get me started with that, man.
They didn't measure
But
the man's feet. Come on now.
yeah, and it's like, I mean, because I remember someone in the chat, the live chat for the Joe Shane presser saying he's a bust. He can't stay healthy, and they brought up the cleat as well too, which is funny as
He's
fuck.
played one
And I'm
year. How
like,
the hell do you know whether he can stay healthy or not? He's played one year.
bro, it's just y'all. Some of y'all drive me crazy, man. I love y'all, but some of y'all drive me crazy. Mac, the Giants fan, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Sorry, I'm just seeing this, man, but I appreciate you stopping by. Neymar asked, guys, do you think that Charles Cross smokescreen Oh wait, what? Okay, so he's essentially asking if Charles Cross, with the hype that the Giants have been giving him, is that a smokescreen and that they want Evan Neal? I'll be honest with you. I don't think that it's necessarily a smokescreen. I do think that there's things to like about Charles Cross. There's things that obviously he has to work on, but I don't think that that's a smokescreen. I think that whoever falls to them, I mean, I don't think that they would have a problem taking. Now, if you're in a situation where Aquanu was there, Neal is there, and Cross. I mean, I think that it's either Neal or Aquanu. But if you have, one of the tackles left and it's Charles Cross, I could absolutely see him picking him up. I mean, I
Well,
wouldn't pick him up at 5, but
if
I,
you're in a
I
Giant situation, you're kind of in a. You'd rather be where you could grab one of them top two guys. You're kind of probably trying to talk yourself into it right now because it's such a huge need for the Giants. If I'm GM, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm sitting there, I'm trying to talk myself into it. I'm bringing everybody to the room, scouted them, looked at them, and trying to get them to talk me into it. That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
doing. So it's them just trying to talk themselves into it here. Who knows? But there is
yeah.
some people that are really high on Charles Cross. I'm not the hugest on him. I do think he's a solid player. He just had there's a lot that it has to project for him to be a very good tackle. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, I don't think that he's a bad player. I think that, especially in the passing game, he's solid. But at the same time, I don't see them choosing Cross over Neal or Iquanu if he's there. I just think that that might be the last choice that they have. I mean, they may be higher on him than we think. I mean, I'm not going to say no, but
It's possible.
I just think that if Aquanu was there, or even if Neal is there, and you have Neal and Cross, you take Neal. You don't take Charles Cross over Evan Neal. I'm sorry, you
Absolutely
don't
not.
do that.
Not in my opinion.
Um,
But
that's
there is
where
some
I'm throwing my
defenders.
remote.
Listen, you can go up in my comments right now. I just had one. He's like, I got bad news for you. Like, if you don't think Charles Cross is the best out of this group. So, I mean, I'm done arguing about it. I just told him, I got bad news for you. You were adopted. You didn't know. So,
Hey man, and it's just how it is. I mean, during this point of the offseason, I mean, and it's not just with the Giants, it's pretty much every fan base, but we're all curious to see what our organization's going to do. And I think that, the Giants are going to leave with an offensive tackle in the first round. Who I personally think it's going to be Evan Neal. I'm going to just be honest with you. I think that Iquanu is going to go to the Texans, but I think that Evan Neal will fall to 5, and they'll take him there. But I would be shocked if Cross and
we've
Neal are there
seen
and they
Evan
take
Neal play right
Cross.
tackle, right?
Yep.
That's the thing. Out of all three of these guys, and even if you think you're worried about Evan Neal's feet, he's the one guy who produced and was very good at right tackle. These other guys didn't. So he's somebody that you can actually visualize it. The other two are projections. Let's just be honest about it. Some things have to go right. They have stuff to work on. So it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Absolutely. And again, you know, I don't think that Cross is a bad player. I think that he's pretty solid, but he's not my first choice. I'm more of a fan of Neil and Aquanu than I am a Cross. But I mean, I don't think that it's a smokescreen. I think that they're being honest with you. And that goes back to Joe Shane. I appreciate, the honesty that we're getting because, Judge was very like, oh, I'm going to sway the media one way while we're doing this. Same with Dave Gettleman, always wants to talk like he's the smartest guy in the room, and he's trying to not deceive, but sway the fans one way, thinking that he's fooling them. And for me, I'm very pleased with the Joe Shane era so far, and I think that if you can start it off with taking Neil or Iquanu and getting up a nice edge rusher, I think you're off to a great start to the new era, man. Um, Neymar says, Kayla, I am thinking they take Evan Neal and Jeremy Ruckert. Let me ask you something, GOS. I mean, on the topic of tight ends, do you got one that you're just like, he has to be a Giant this year?
I love all of them. Charlie Kohler is the one that really intrigues me because I could see him developing into like a Jimmy Graham-esque player. But yeah, Jeremy Rucker, he'd be fine. He's great. He didn't get as much play as he should be. He was used more for blocking. But if you like them tight ends that can block and then get up the seam a little bit, Rucker's plenty good. So
Yeah,
it was pretty unfair for him in Ohio State. He didn't get as many pass attempts as he did. But I could listen. You never know with these guys how they're going to develop. They are so young nowadays. They're not. It's not. I can't say it's enough. It's not like what they used to come in when they were 25, 24, when they were borderline men. You don't know
mhm.
how some of these guys are going to develop the next few years. So I
Yeah,
like this entire
absolutely.
group. I'm kind of leaning towards the faster. I'm leaning away from the guys like that Greg Olchich and them types of guys. Just the guys that basically just get down the field fast. And I don't want another Evan Ingram. I want all around tight ends in here. If you
I,
want, we already have one of. We already got one of them Evan Ingram. So we brought over the guy from Washington. So a guy you can
yeah,
split out in
Ricky
some
Seals.
packages and use that way. So you know,
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you. I mean, I want an all-around tight end, and then I think that we've seen, with how Joe Shane, just you look at just the Bills. I mean, with Knox, I mean, I think he was a third-round pick, if I or third or fourth-round pick, if I may. I could be wrong.
yeah,
I'm gonna double check on that. But I
no,
mean,
I
I
think
could
you're right.
absolutely see him taking it in the third round. Will it be Ruckert? Will it be a Trey McBride? I actually like Trey McBride. I'm kind of at this point, just told myself, Rucker probably won't be there when we're picking. So I've been selling myself more on McBride. But either way, man,
I
I
don't
would
know.
love it.
There's so many of them. There's so many this year that's going to be, and it feels like there's so. It's going to depend who are the first two teams to take two of them because then the run because that's how it works in the draft.
Yep,
People go on
absolutely.
runs on position. So if you see
Yep.
a couple go in the middle of the second, then you might see them go a little bit faster. I've had people argue with me, don't draft one until the fourth round this year. Oh well, if you're just looking at mock drafts all the time, that's fine. They don't play out the reality. The reality is when you get a couple teams grabs Trey McBride and Rucker in the middle of the second, then you got teams sitting there going, "Well, do we really need a tight end? Do we really want to sit and hope one's there that we like in the third round, or we just get the one we like now?" And that's the way they think. So,
No,
yeah,
you're
I
absolutely
think
right.
third round is going to be the run on most of these tight ends, but you never know. All it takes a couple teams to grab a couple early, and then
Yeah.
we're sitting there in the third. We wait till third round. We're sitting there going, "Oh shit," or you're forced to trade up to the end of the second, to get into where you need to grab one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do look, while I don't know what tight end we are going to select, I do know one thing. We got Big Blue Corner joining us. How you doing? How you
Hey, what's
doing,
going on,
man?
fellas? How's it going, man?
Hey,
What's up,
nice
man?
to have you, man. I'm chilling. I'm doing pretty good. But shit, before I ask you real quick, let me just say shout out the chat. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Big man on campus, thank you for stopping by, man. Shit, I think I missed one more person. I apologize. I am so behind. Actually, I'm not even as behind as I think, but I feel
Jaden
like I am.
Alvis is in
Uh,
here.
yeah, Jayden is in here. Oh, that was the other one. Jayden, man, appreciate you stopping by. Um, Happy 420, y'all. If y'all got it, smoke it. I do, so I will. But uh
Hey, real
Rod, let
quick.
me yes, sir.
Hey, real quick. Hey, big man on campus. I know you were in the stream earlier before. Hey, you gotta cut the young lady a break. She knows a lot about football. Not a lot about football, man. So,
Yep.
hey, I keep, please refrain from those comments. You know, it's not even necessary. But cut her some slack. All right, she's a
Yep.
nice young lady. She knows her football, so
Yeah,
You don't have to be a
cut her some slack.
Republican to know football, my guy. Joe Shane's from California, isn't he?
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
nah. She's a very smart girl. She's very informative. But I'll be very honest with you, man. She's very knowledgeable. So I'm there with you, man. But look, to get back into it, man, and actually I appreciate you saying that, Rod, for real. Um, Let me ask you, Rod. I'm gonna pose the same question I asked GOS earlier in the stream, and then we'll continue with some of the quotes from the players. Um, what were your thoughts, man, on the Joe Shane presser? Were you able to watch it by chance?
I didn't really get a chance to catch it. I was on Big Pat's stream, but I pretty much caught like the back end of it. Um, I'm not exactly sure what he said. I was gonna actually go back and listen to it when I got a chance, and I was off of work. Um, Other than I couldn't even really comment on it, man. I apologize.
Nah, you're good. You're good. Not a problem. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of fill you in a little bit, Shane said that they got calls, for 5 and 7. He also stated that they would like to keep Bradbury, but they've received calls on him as well. Um, I mean, there was quite a few quotes to be taken, from that presser, but you had some fans that were really upset with how the presser went. I mean, you're gonna have fans that are upset regardless with how shit goes, but it's just, man. Again, I'm gonna just say it one more time. Some of y'all fans gotta chill, man. I mean, we
I,
haven't even played a damn preseason game.
I mean, here's my take. If it was about the Bradbury thing, this is how I look at it. If Bradbury isn't traded before the draft or by the draft or on draft day, he's pretty much going to be on this team. Now, the only other way I could see him being traded is if we go for Sauce Gardner in the first round. Other than that, I mean, it's not like Bradbury can't be, you know, a good cornerback. He's shown that he's been a very, very good cornerback for us. You know, my only concern at the time was whether or not he can actually play press man, you know, but that's what he played when he was in Carolina. So based off of that, from what the little bit of research that I did do on him, as far as his time in Carolina, he's a very good press cover corner. So I'm looking at it as a plus plus. If we do trade him, then you know at least we're able to get his replacement. Hopefully, if not, I don't see the harm in keeping him. I really don't see the harm in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there with you, man. I mean, I just feel that a lot of people look at, again, and I'll say this again, a lot of people look at how he played last year, which I don't even think he played bad last year. I thought that he played pretty fair. But they look at how he played last year and they compare it to 2020, where he had a very good season. Um, I don't think that he's a scrub, man. And y'all treat him
The,
like a scrub. I've seen,
the problem
and
is,
not to cut you
listen,
off,
where's the money coming from to sign the rookies though? I mean, if Bradbury's on the team, the cap is
That's the
just
con-
not there right now. How are
and
they
that's the
going?
concern. That's the biggest concern. I mean, do you risk? I mean, is it too late to even restructure Leonard Williams? Because I would have honestly thought they would have probably targeted him to do a restructure because he's pretty young. What is he like 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there.
he's 28. Yeah, 28.
Yeah, if you're considering him, at least a corner piece of this defense, the least you could do is try to restructure him,
Yeah,
but right now the way I see it is okay, you restructured Adoree Jackson, Blake Martinez and Shepard both took pay cuts. So as of right now, those were the two main people that you could have went after. You're not going to go after Galladay because technically speaking, that was a bad contract, and you don't want to extend that any further without knowing what Galladay could even do. So, you know,
Well,
as of
Williams'
right now,
contract was structured so there's an out. If, all right, so I think that's what Gettleman was thinking. There's an out on Leonard Williams' contract on the year where you'd have to pay a quarterback. Say Daniel Jones balls, you could move on from Leonard Williams' deal at that point to make up the money for Daniel Jones or maybe even Saquon at the same time. So, I mean, if you move Leonard Williams' year back a deal and then Daniel Jones comes out and he's killing it, now down the line, we're going to be strapped in some ways the cap again. But it's tricky. Listen, this is why they make the big bucks. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, I mean, I think that there's going to be some players that get, their contracts pushed down. Whether that's Leonard Williams, I think that that could absolutely be one. I don't think they do that with Galladay. And to actually touch up on Leonard Williams, one of the quotes I wanted to read was by him. He states that Wink Martindale's defense is exciting. He says he's blitzing guys from all different directions. He also said that watching Ravens film, he thinks that he could be the Calais Campbell for the New York Giants. I mean, if if honestly, man, if this kid could come in and be what Calais Campbell was, if not more, for what he was for the Ravens, man, I mean, sign me the fuck up. Excuse my language, but sign me up because that would be incredible. That would be a difference maker on the defensive line. On top of if we can go get ourselves that Batman of an edge rusher, and I think that old Ojulari is due for a good season this year under Wink Martindale. So I mean, I love hearing that. I think that Leo, and another thing because I saw some fans giving him shit for saying this, but I think that he's saying how a lot of people feel. He also said that it's not the rebuilding he's tired of; it's the losing. I mean, I think
yep,
we all are. We're all tired of the losing. I don't mind a rebuild if there's progression. I don't mind a rebuild if there's signs, showing that we're headed in the right direction. But I haven't seen that, with the previous regimes. I thought I saw that with Joe Judge. I'll be honest. But we all know how that plays out. So, Christopher Tony, I appreciate you stopping by. DMAC, I was kind of hesitant on highlighting the comment because pause, but he says big blue corner. Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
type his
yeah.
name out. Type, type it out. Do type it out, because I ain't gonna be pausing you every time you say that, man. So type that shit out next time. Yeah, exactly. That didn't sound right. Um, but yeah, nah, man. I mean, I'm very pumped to see what Wink does with some of the players on this defense. I mean, Xavier McKinney, I mean, I think the sky's the limit with this kid. I mean, I think he could be a very special player in this defense. And I mean, if we do end up getting a player like Sauce Gardner, or if in the event we trade back and take a player like Kyle Hamilton, I mean, let me tell you something, man. I mean, I think that would be huge for Xavier McKinney and huge for this defense,
He made a
because
comment too. I don't know if you've seen it.
about it, the organization not being, not the organization, but the energy not being as uptight this year, something like
Yeah,
that. I read,
yeah, that's exactly what he said.
and shit, he's not lying. I mean, I think that Joe Judge's and Brian Dable's approach is a lot, is very different, and I think that I wasn't necessarily. Let me think of the right word here, because I don't want to say what I want to say and it come across the wrong way. I liked Joe Judge's philosophy, but I think that you got to have a resume to do what he wanted to do. And with him being a first time head coach, with the losing that was happening, I mean, look, man, I mean, it didn't work in the long run. It kind of wore some players out, and it typically does, especially when you lose. I mean, and that's been kind of the theme with a lot of these, Bill Belichick proteges that come out of that organization. It just
You gotta
doesn't
have the right
work.
guys. You gotta have the right
Exactly.
guys.
It doesn't work. And I mean, I really like, the energy so far, that we're seeing with Brian Dable. Obviously, we're not seeing everything, but it just feels like a breath of fresh air. And I think that it just exactly, Taj. It feels more chill. So I'm absolutely very
Some
excited to see how
some
he
of our better coaches, our history though, were
executes.
very uptight. Bill Parcells was very uptight,
Yep.
especially if the offensive line was bad for a couple of weeks. He would be very uptight with certain position groups. Tom Coughlin was always uptight. I'm not saying we didn't win with coaches that weren't uptight. I mean, we had Fat Fossil here for years, and he was very relaxed, more of a player's coach guy. And I used to love him, man. He was a great coach for us. It was a shame we never, we ran into the 2000 Ravens defense, but there he was close to winning too. But if you ask me, it's almost a compliment if a coach is uptight. I mean, there's expectations. A coach has to
Yeah.
be uptight in some ways. Maybe
Yeah.
not every
Absolutely.
day, every week, but at some points, you're going to have to be uptight with some of your position groups when they're going through a tough time. It is what it is. So, and maybe it was just, Xavier's a younger player. Maybe it was just a slip of the tongue, but something he probably should have said.
Yeah, and he'll learn. But I do think that
Yeah.
he is a player that, look, I mean, obviously, it when it happens, it happens. But I think that he's a player that's going to be a giant for life. If he could keep going in the direction that he's headed towards, man, and if he could thrive the way that I think that he's going to thrive under Wink, I mean, I'm telling you, I think that this guy is going to be a giant for life, man. I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm just so excited for this kid.
if if his play continues to progress and get better and better and better, then I can definitely see McKinney being here for a very long time. At least being one of the, at least a cornerstone for what the defense is, and you need at least three of those. One in the secondary, linebacker core, and at least a lineman. You know what I mean? A defensive lineman. You need that. At least three leaders that you can definitely depend on that defense. And I can see McKinney being one of those, especially for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's
Now,
going to
I'm
be,
skeptical
yeah,
to say he's going to make a Pro Bowl. I mean, this is a
for
whole
what
new
it's
system
worth, I
coming
guess.
in. Let's give him some time. Let's not put Pro Bowl expectations on him.
Oh, he
Now,
should have been
second
a
year
Pro
in the
Bowl.
system, I want to
He
see
should
it.
have been a
Yeah, he
Pro
should have
Bowler
been.
last year.
He
He
should
should.
have.
You know
I,
what
I agree.
though? He kind of should have. But when you factor in the first 4 or 5 weeks was about as bad as you can get, and they don't name the Pro Bowl at the end of the year, do they? Ain't that like kind of made up by the middle of the year?
I think it's
Like the
like the
votes already
middle
kind of
going
tallied in the
towards
middle.
the end. I think it's
That's
like
what
the
I was
middle
saying.
towards
So
the end.
right. So by then, I mean, you got to factor it in 4 or 5. I mean, he looked horrible the first month of the football season. He was missing tackles, taking bad angles. He looked light. He just, yeah, what's that, Big Blue Power Rush or whatever. Them guys are calling him a bust. I mean, people are starting to call him a bust.
Do we got a
So,
moderator in the chat?
It's okay. I just did it.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow,
I
what
just did
happened?
it.
Somebody being
Nah,
racist?
big man on campus talking crazy.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, nah, I don't think he'll be joining our streams anymore. But yeah, nah, it's just let me just say this much, man. I mean, I think that with how this kid played last year, I think that he was definitely a bright spot on this defense. But I think that Wink is going to play to this guy's strengths. Same with Ojolari. You can make the same argument, honestly, with Leonard Williams and maybe even Dexter Lawrence. Um, while I'm not the biggest Dexter Lawrence fan, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that Wink could have him, get him to have at least a pretty decent season where if the Giants don't pick up his 5th-year option, he could go out there and get himself a nice contract. So, uh, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But I'll be honest with you, as excited as I am for this offense, because I mean, shit, we was hoping and praying we could score a touchdown at certain points last year.
You're exactly
I'm
right.
even more excited for this defense, man. I mean, just because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked the bend but don't break approach that we had to unfortunately result to because of the talent that we had last year. But in my opinion, man, I mean, with how Wink runs his defense and just the scheme that he draws up and the different ways that he draws blitzes, man. I mean, I'm thrilled to have this guy with the New York Giants, man. I mean, very thrilled. And look, I'm gonna read some of these other quotes. For some of the other players. One of them being Kenny Galladay. Galladay stated that the vibe feels definitely more relaxed with the new Giants staff. He said that he felt that he, should come to, voluntary mini camp just so that he could get ahead of the curve. And, he felt that it was important for everyone to be there, but understands that not everyone can make it due to their own reasons. Which I mean, that's what you want your players to say. I mean, you had Glowinski who wasn't there today, but it also came out that his wife had a baby. And before that came out, you had fans kind of. I definitely saw a couple of y'all on Twitter making a little deal out that. So again, y'all got to take it easy. I mean, Martinez wasn't even there today. I mean, and again, I mean, with him even coming off of that ACL. I mean, I'm not really expecting him to come there. I don't really have expectations at around this point in time just because I'm so focused on the draft. But again, right now it's the dead point. We got to create stories. Um,
Are
but
you talking
again,
about the Kadarius Toney?
yeah, we spoke about that a little bit ago. But actually, I want to get your thoughts, man. I mean, how are you feeling about him not going to voluntary mini camps? Let me say again, voluntary mini camps.
All right, this is my take. Would I have liked to see him there, especially for the simple fact this is a new offense, new system, new coaches, and to be able to get some sort of rapport and at least get familiarized with whatever is new. Definitely. However, as you said it, plenty of people have said it on Twitter, whatever the case may be. This is voluntary. You do not have to be there. So, and as long as he shows up for the mandatory mini camps, if he's out there training with a wide receivers coach, putting in the work, I'm all for it. It'll be a different story if he wasn't showing up. It was mandatory, but it's voluntary. Like I said, would I have liked him to be there based off of the new system and new coaches? Yes, but one way or the other, he's gonna come in, and as long as he performs the way he's supposed to perform and keeps himself healthy, I don't have a problem with it one bit.
Exactly. And look, I mean, I'll just say this again. He's all right. I have no issues with him not being there. It'd be one thing if he was a distraction off the field, which he isn't. It would be one thing if, this was required for all of the players to go there. It wasn't. It would be one thing if, this guy just didn't really show us anything last year, but I can make an argument that he's our best receiver right now at this very moment. I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not. I think that when this kid puts the cleats on and gets onto the field and starts scoring some touchdowns and making some plays, I'm telling you, a lot of these fans that are complaining now, they're going to be forgetting about that. And again, to go back to GOS's point, I mean, Strahan wasn't even going to those things. So and I get it, Strahan was Strahan at that point, but still, it's voluntary, man. It's voluntary. So again, I do got a slight eyebrow raise, but it's nothing more than that. I'm not even really thinking about it, to be honest with you, but it is what it is for me, man. It's not that big of a deal. I just need some Giants fans to take it easy a little bit. It's the sky's not falling, man.
Exactly.
And look, Blue City Empire. I mean, I understand you may be a little bit concerned, but again, I don't think that him and Odell are the same player, let alone the same person. If I'm being honest with you, and I didn't really have problems with Odell, if I'm being honest. I just think that the media, they try to stir up stories with some of these players to have us talk about it as fans, which is exactly what we're doing. So, they what they wanted to achieve, they achieved. But for me, man, I'm not making a big deal out of it. When it comes time for them to be here and it's required, I'll pay attention there. But I'm not really making a big deal. Um, and
Jonathan
Christopher Tone,
Studios.
yeah, I'm about
He
to
said
highlight his
Bengals
comment
versus.
right now.
Yeah, they go look at how many injuries there were last year. I'm not trying to defend it, and I've been one of the people who says Wink has a problem kind of evolving when the injuries are there. I've been open about that. To many fans dislike me for that. But why don't you go look at some of the
Being
2 years
honest.
previous and go look at some when his team was there and in place and try and find one of them games like that. Number one in
Yeah,
yards every year, other than last year when they had as many injuries as we did. So
if not more.
I'm not saying that to defend Wink because I am skeptical of some things about him. But yeah,
Yeah, no, and again,
kind of
I
a little
think that
unfair.
it is, and that's what I was about to say. I think that is a little bit unfair, just due to the fact that the Ravens dealt with so many injuries last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So, I mean, and I agree with you, Gos. I think that he has to get better at that in that respect. But I don't think that we'll necessarily have to really deal with that unless we get some injuries. Let's say Adoree Jackson goes out, then the secondary is looking a little bit thin if they don't address it in the draft. But again, he's not a scrub. I know you're not saying that, Blue City. Um, excuse me. I know you're not saying that, Jonathan Studios, but I think that again, you look at the injuries that they had at that secondary. You also look at Jamar Chase really did a number on them, man. I mean, he did, but Jamar Chase did a number on pretty much everybody. Shit, he did a number in the Super Bowl. So it's shit. I'll
That
give
is
my
true.
respect where it's
Listen,
due.
Wink is going to gamble here, and big plays are going to happen. It's
Yeah,
inevitable. It is what
absolutely.
it is. That's something that these fans that harped on the conservative nature of Patrick Graham, that's something you're going to have to realize. That's what we're bringing in here. That is your new reality.
Yeah.
There's going to be quick scores on us. We're going to send a blitz and it ain't going to work. It ain't going to get there, and then your Packers in your hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Jonathan, yeah, I get it. We dealt with injuries too last year. At the same time, I mean, we had to go to a bend but don't break defense. And I mean, it worked, but there was definitely times where, we were getting eaten up. Pause. But we were getting eaten up. So, I mean, it happens. And there'll be a couple plays here and there, we'll get
And you
burnt,
know what
but
though? When you're
let's go.
watching that kind of defense, you're sitting there going, "Listen, we're getting eaten up. They're going right down the field. At least try and do something. I don't care if we get eaten up in one play, but at least try and do something." But when it's happening consistently the other way around, fans are going to go the other way on it. So
Yep.
you just have to live with the results and hope the coaches do the best they can with what they got. At the end of the day, you're going to want the other thing eventually over time. But
I mean, it's
Yeah,
gonna be it's
absolutely.
gonna be a learning it's gonna be a learning curve for everyone. New
absolutely.
systems all the way around, and gotta let the fans know. Look, don't get too bent out of shape because we might have lost. I mean, who knows how many games we're going to lose starting off? Who knows? I'm not going to talk that into existence because I want us to be winning, but
Mhm.
it's going to be a learning curve. These guys are going to have to gel. They're going to have to, be able to move and coordinate with each other on one accord. And that's going to take a little bit of time, even though the majority of the guys are, pretty much there from last year and the year before. It's just going to take a little time within the system. And hopefully it doesn't take half the season, maybe a couple games, but at some point you're going to start to see the team really gelling, really coordinated with one another, and running on the same accord. And that's what you want to see.
Absolutely.
You want to be able
And
to
if
see
not, we'll have a new
progress.
coordinator.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how it is, though. That's how it works.
yeah, I mean, you got to be. I mean, I hope a lot of fans don't have very, very, very high expectations of the team because you have to understand that everything is new and it's going to take a little bit of time. You got, when the rookies come in, that's going to take more time. That's going to take time for them to be able to get up to speed. So this year, hey, honestly, if we have a winning record, if we're above 500, I'll be happy with that.
I
And
would
that's the
too.
truth
I think
because
all
at
of us
least
would.
that's showing to me, that's showing great progress. They've bought in to the culture, to everything that's going on, and they're willing to sit there and put in the work. And I'm dying to see what this offense is going to look like because trust me when I tell you, based off of what we've seen the last 2 years, anything, anything would be better than what we saw.
I think it'll
Yeah,
be better than what we saw with Joe Judge for sure. I mean, I don't see how it can't be.
it's gotta be,
Right.
man. It's gotta be. Shit. Let me get to some of these chats, man. Miz, I appreciate you stopping by,
Hey,
man.
Miz, what's up,
Hope
man?
you're doing well, man.
How's it going,
Um,
Miss?
we're actually gonna have a guest come on real quick. I know he wanted to get some thoughts out. Champ, how you doing, man? Jayden.
Nah, I'm good.
Jayden.
What's good, everybody? How about y'all?
All
Hey,
right.
it's it's a little bit of a holiday. Lighting up, chilling, man. Can't really complain.
Foot of
But shit.
snow, been awesome. Yeah.
Hey, it's it's like 87 where I'm at right now, man. It's
No, I don't
beautiful.
want to hear
Man,
that shit.
yeah, I don't want to hear that, man. I don't
It's
want to
it's
hear that.
87. Sun is out. It's windy outside. I earlier, man, I had me a nice little doobie. Took me a
See what
walk.
I'm saying?
Got me
See
some
what I'm saying,
breakfast.
GOS? You see what he doing? You see what
It
he
ain't
doing,
my
right?
fault. Y'all decided to live in
Man,
a tundra.
you've been enjoying 80 since January, man. I'm telling you, I'm mailing you snow when it comes
Man,
wintertime. I'm
I'm
mailing it to you.
I'm telling you, dog. When you come down here, you're gonna be just like me. You're gonna be like, wow, it's 87. You're gonna have people saying, oh it's snowing where we at. Shit.
I hear you, man.
I
Every time
got
I've been down there, I just jump in from AC to room to AC to room. I don't go outside in that shit.
oh, man.
Yeah, if you're walking, if you're walking
You're
around in
right,
like
man.
August, you're out of your mind. If you're walking around
You're
every day,
absolutely right. You're absolutely
Facts,
right,
man.
GOS.
Hey, we gonna let another person on as well. I'm so excited to have him here, man. We got my brother Ash,
Yo,
dog. Yo,
what's
how are
up,
you
man?
doing, man? How are you, brother?
Yep,
Doing good, man.
we
Doing
got
good.
we got Eric Flaw. Eric Flaw was in the building. It was good.
nice.
Eric,
And
Say
I'm
now,
gonna put
but
I'm gonna put that boy in timeout real quick. Trying to size my dog over here. Jaden, I'm gonna let you back on in a sec after I ask Ash this question, and I'm gonna ask you the same question. What were your thoughts today, man, on that Joe Shane presser? Did you leave any, takeaways? When you watched. I mean, how are you feeling about it, man?
I'm not gonna lie, I actually haven't watched it yet.
Damn.
I was just recording my mock draft video, so like that's why I'm
Okay.
down and
Okay.
stuff. So, but I did catch some of Brian Dable's comments and like some from other players like Kenny Galladay and Leonard Williams, and Saquon. I did catch that, but I didn't catch the Joe Shane presser at all. So you guys might have to inform me on what was said.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We got you, man. I mean, pretty much, couple of quotes he had stated. They got calls for 5 and 7.
Mm.
Um, he also said that they've also obviously received calls for Bradbury, but there's contingencies to where he would like to keep Bradbury here in 2022. I mean, that's nothing really new. I know that we all kind of have our suspicions with Bradbury. Some believe he's going to stay, some believe that he's going to leave. I think that, at least for me, and probably the rest of the panel, unless any of y'all disagree, I kind of got him penciled in, to be not with the Giants this year. I think come draft time he's going to get traded. Where to? I'm not entirely sure. Um, Now, I mean, he was relatively honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ash. During the whole process, I mean, and some fans you saw in the live chat weren't really feeling it. And it's just I think that when you look at how Gettleman approached things, I mean, I'm gonna just be real with you, man. It just felt like fresh air. I
Yeah.
mean, it really felt like a breath of fresh air. I mean, he spoke a little bit on the cap and some of the roster, some of the players on the roster as well. One of the things that he said that I saw some people state, give their opinions on too, was, in regards to the roster, where he feels that, we have a lot of holes that we have to fix. And, he looks at that, with 5 and 7, they just want to take the two best players at that position. Which, I mean, at this point, that's what I would expect my GM to say.
Yeah.
I think either way, every GM's going to take a call. But at the same time, man, it's just, for me, I'll be very honest with you, Ash. I don't see them trading out of 5, but I do think 7 is possible. But I mean, do you see 5 going? Do you see 7 going?
It's all gonna depend on where Malik Willis goes, right? Like, if Malik Willis is still on the board at 5, I think you're gonna get some trade offers. Maybe the Steelers, if they really feel they really want him. Maybe the Saints. Maybe even I heard the Falcons really like Malik Willis as well. So,
Yep,
I mean,
heard that too.
I doubt they'll give you a first next year. But I would just say, like, if they do call you, don't deny any trade offer they give you if it doesn't include a first next year, because that's really automatically or really a top 3 pick if we're being honest. But I don't think people are going to want to trade up for Kenny Pickett. Malik Willis, I just feel like he's the best quarterback, and his potential really intrigues a lot of teams, and I feel like that's going to be a reason why teams are going to want to trade up. But Kenny Pickett, I don't really think people are going to want to trade up for Kenny Pickett. If Kenny Pickett, like I said, if Malik Willis is there by 5, you might receive some offers. But I think the Panthers might take Kenny Pickett before Malik, just because of us, or because of Matt Rule having some familiarity and him trying to recruit him in college. So you might be able to trade back at 7 as well. But I think it'll be more likely trade back at 5, to be honest.
Hey, don't be surprised if Pittsburgh comes calling now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you've seen Mike Tomlin really at all the pro days. He was front and center at the Pittsburgh pro day. So, and we obviously know that Mike Tomlin, from the looks of it, he loves him some Malik Willis. So, I mean, I hope, and then if we do trade with Pittsburgh, we gotta get a massive deal from Pittsburgh, because you're moving back from 5 to 20. So,
yeah,
if you trade with Pittsburgh, you're talking like first round picks for the next 3 years, because they're always going to have a winning record.
At least 3 first round picks.
Because I mean,
I don't know if he's going to garner 3 first round picks. Maybe. I mean, just think about. Well, they are trading into the top 10. So it might be 2 picks. Who knows?
Well, I mean 3 first round picks, because obviously the trade swap, and then like the pick swap, and then 2 extra firsts. That's what I meant by 3 total ones. Because
it might be some seconds and thirds mixed in. It might be just 1 with seconds and thirds.
Well, listen, if you trade with Pittsburgh every year, your first round pick's going to be like 20th and back.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Pretty much. That's the reason why I say, like, okay, are you willing to take that first round pick? Okay, cool.
No, I'm not trading a blue chip player for a bunch of late first round picks, man.
Exactly. I'd rather get the seconds and thirds to make up for that if they willing to give all that up.
Oh well, they'd have to. They'd have to.
Yeah,
You're talking about getting first, second, and thirds probably for the next 2-3 years. So make that jump.
They're gonna have to give you a ransom.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this, man. I mean, if I'm at 5, let's say a player like Kayvon or even Evan Neal is there, I can't pass up on either of them, man. I'm more in favor of trading 7, just so I know I get my offensive tackle at 5. If Kayvon falls past Carolina, I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't pass up on him. I already
Carolina's
going to
take a tackle.
Last year. Oh yeah,
I think Carolina's going to take a tackle, man. If you don't get your tackle at 5, you're screwed. You're not getting a tackle this draft. And then what all them late first round picks in the future good for? Try explaining that to your fan base.
Yeah, that's why I want to draft Akim Wando at 5.
I mean, that would be let me tell you something, man. I said it earlier and I'm gonna say it again. If you're telling me we can leave with a premier offensive tackle and edge rusher in the first round, that's an excellent way to start off the Joe Shane era, man. I'm telling you, dog, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they don't take an edge rusher in the first round and they took Sauce, I mean, I don't want a cornerback in the first round. I'll be real. I've been saying it, but I'm not going to be upset just because I know that we're getting a hell of a player at the cornerback position, man.
Nah, I agree with you there because every time we draft a corner in the top 10, it never works out for us.
Well, you didn't like Eli Apple? Come on, man. He was a Super Bowl.
I think I think like the more I think about it, like, and with Wink's scheme, I think it would be better for us to take a corner than, even though I don't think Thibodeau is going to be there, I think it would be better for us to take a corner than Thibodeau. Like, obviously, I really want Thibodeau, and it really intrigues me to pair him with Aziz. But with Wink's
go watch the Joe Shane presser, Ash, because one of the reporters asked about a top flight corner with the top 5 pick, and Joe Shane had a good little chuckle at that. The way he acted, I don't think he thinks there's a top flight corner in worth the top 5 pick.
Really?
He had a good laugh at it. Yeah, go watch it. He had a good laugh at that. He actually said, "A reporter looks like you brought your crystal ball out today." So,
yeah, I just know from Wink's system, it's like, you know, Wink values the corner more than the edge, if that makes sense. Like, Wink's gonna send it doesn't matter if it's your grandma. He'll have your grandma blitzing. Like, he's gonna have everybody blitzing. And I feel like with this draft being so filled with solid linebackers and solid edges, like Nick Bonito, you know, others. I forgot the dude's name from Cincinnati. I forgot his name, but there's really like a lot of good, like, just solid, not even good, but just like solid guys. And I feel like Wink might value that corner more than, you know, than the edge. But I feel like if Kayvon is there, it's gonna take me a really hard time to get over passing up Kayvon, you know, for Sauce. I really think there's more of a drop off from like Sauce and Stingley than Kayvon to, you know, like.
I used to think that last year too, that the second round edge rushers, but it ain't. Like, they ain't looking too great. And Aziz, some of the late guys, they ain't like Joe Tryon. I mean, that turned out to be awful. Joe Tryon and all the them kind of players.
I forgot about Joe Tryon.
I did too.
They got a couple guys in this draft that, you know, if you pick them up in the later rounds, they're good. And one name that comes to mind, and you guys will know G Nation. He's always harping about this guy, Amari Barno from Virginia Tech. You know, the guy's he's very, very good. Very good. Now, going back to what you just said, was it Ash?
Yeah.
The drop off. Yeah, I think there's more of a drop off in the cornerbacks than there is with the edge rushers, because even if we traded back, we still picked right tackle at number 5, and we traded back, we could still pick up a good edge. You know, you got Jermaine Johnson from Florida State. Still got Karlaftis there. Now, whether or not Trayvon Walker's there, because I've read, heard rumors that
don't buy all that. Don't buy all that, dude.
I'm like 50-50 buying in on it. That he can go. I mean, you got some guys that saying he can go number 1 to the Jags, which I don't even see. You know, because this kid,
that dude's good. Whoever does that's getting fired.
It's the
but
that's what they need. That's probably what they need to take Trayvon Walker, just to get him. Well, Shad Balak is the owner, right? Or is that
Shad Khan, I think his name is.
Oh, Shad Khan. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why the Jacksonville Jaguars will make a smokescreen at number 1 when they're not getting that many calls. Like, it doesn't make sense for them to just be like, oh, we're gonna make a smokescreen about Trayvon. Like, I think they legitimately like Trayvon Walker. Like,
I think so too.
Trayvon Walker.
I mean, I'll be real with you, and I'm not taking a number 1 overall, But I mean, I believe the GM for the Jags took Alden Smith that one draft.
That's what we were saying. Like he said, he reminds him of Alden Smith, and actually, this was pointed out to me. I so like if you follow me on Twitter, like I get in like the Twitter spaces and stuff like that. Like I'm that guy, and somebody pointed out to me that if you look at his history of selecting players, he always takes the player that has the more of a potential or more of a like a athletic ability in the time where he was in Jacksonville. So I really think
Well,
they really
and
like.
you're going Kayvon, right? If you're going at pure athletic ability, you're going Kayvon, aren't you, in this draft?
I don't know, because Trayvon, like a lot of people
Well,
are.
Trayvon didn't do shit. Let's just be honest about it. He didn't do shit as an edge rusher.
No, he didn't. That's why I don't think he's a top 5. I don't even think he's a top 10 player in this draft. But a lot of people are really like enamored with that like athletic test he did, and he almost had like I think he had like the same test as or the same result as Myles Garrett, and a lot of people are just enamored with his athletic ability. I think he's a couple of pounds away from being a defensive tackle, to be
That's
honest.
what I'm saying. I'd like to see him
But
as
then he
like Leonard
played
Williams
defensive
role.
tackle.
Yeah,
I like him like Leonard Williams, like a 3-tech. That's what I'd like for him.
yeah.
Yeah, then he played defensive tackling at Georgia because I mean he
They
was
lined him
buried
up
behind
all
Devontae
over.
Wyatt
Yeah, they
and
played him.
Jordan Davis.
They played him on the edge. They played him inside. They put him out to cover. They played him
Yeah, even
everywhere.
popped out in coverage.
I
Yeah,
believe he
Well,
lost 20 pounds too.
yeah.
I
So
mean, if the guy is that versatile, then I
So if he
mean,
lost 20 pounds and he's going to be an edge, and in
yeah,
that case, I'm not
yeah,
interested in him in at all, unless it's like past the top 10 pick.
Now, my
That's me
question to
personally,
y'all
though.
is, I mean, let's say hypothetically they do take Walker, which I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know we're talking about it right now, and they could potentially take him, but let's just say they do take him. I mean, what player then falls? I mean, because you can make the argument for Thibodeau, but Houston could always take him. I mean, I think that there's a scenario where Walker's off, um, Aquanu was off, Thibodeau and
Hutchinson could drop
Hutchinson.
then. I mean, Hutchinson could drop then, to be honest.
I don't think
And
Campbell
people
will
think
let
it's
him leave the building.
unrealistic.
I
Well,
don't
listen,
know
they're
about
starting to
that.
really nitpick on Hutchinson about his length and all this stuff. I could see a world where he drops, especially if Trayvon Walker goes 1.
I think it's really likely for there to be 4 defenders to go in the first 4 picks.
I think so too.
Nah, yeah, exactly. I was just
I
about
feel
to
like
say the same thing, Ash.
it's gonna. I feel like arguably, like I think Evan Neal can be taken by the Texans. But I feel like it's going to be, or it could be, Trayvon, Aiden, and Kayvon in the first 3 picks, and then the Jets might want to take Sauce at pick number 4, and then you're going to be left with your bunch of the tackles with Evan Neal there, and then at 7 you can try to trade out if like the Panthers take Pickett if they want to, and then you have Willis there, or you could take Stingley, or whatever you like. Hell, you could even I don't want them to, but you could even take a receiver at that point.
Which I mean, that not to
I
cut you
would.
off. Oh, what are you saying, Taj? I mean, Jayden, my fault.
I would do that, but if we're gonna trade down with that seventh pick, I'd rather take a linebacker at that position.
Yeah, if you trade out, yeah.
I mean, I think even if you trade out, you can still select your edge rusher, especially if Karlaftis is there. I mean, I'm gonna just put that out there. Or even if you trade back to the early teens, I mean, if you're still in the market for secondary, I mean, there's a possibility Stingley is there. Depending, if I think it'd be early teens. I mean, I don't think he goes past 12. But I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
So,
You
But I
got
know that you mentioned wide
Kyrie Elam there,
receiver.
too.
Yeah,
Some people
that
are high
too.
on him. He can come down and
That
press a
he
little
is.
bit. Andrew Booth, he's like an end of the first round, but I think he's better than people give him credit for. So
Yeah. I mean, I
there's some
like
good
Jalen
corners
Petrie.
in the middle.
I mean, Jalen Petrie for me. I mean, I think that he'd be a nice player at the end of the first, maybe second round. Um, but no, I mean, to go to your point, Ash, I know you mentioned wide receiver. I mean, to answer Christopher Tony's question, I mean, he wants to know, do we select a wide receiver in this draft and what round would it be? I'll be honest with you. I've been leaning towards it a little bit more and more as the days go by. I wouldn't be shocked if they took one in the second round. I'm gonna just be real with you.
you said
That
player that you want them to take in the second round.
Oh
All right.
no, Christopher Tony wants to know what will we draft a wide receiver and in what round? And I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if we took one in the second.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, I'm gonna say this: like, people feel differently about this whole Kadarius Toney situation. I'm just bringing it up as a like scenario. Like, uh, I mean, of course, Brian Dable's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't, he's not gonna bash his receiver." I'm just saying, like, just to say if they like Tony's not their guy, right? Like they have no ties to anybody on this team, and I don't get that they want to blow this whole thing up. But if they want to add another receiver, I think they could do it in the second round. Or me personally, I would do it in the third round. Um,
Yep.
Yep. Me
but
too.
I wouldn't like if somebody like I mean, I doubt he's gonna be there, but if somebody's like Traylon Burks is there, or somebody like George Pitt is there, I wouldn't mind drafting him in the second, if you're intrigued by him.
Yeah, I don't see them
If you
being
want
there, but
any,
I get what you're saying there. I've been wanting a safety for the second round. There's some
Yeah,
really nice safeties, man.
I've been wanting a safety because I feel like we need like I wouldn't draft Kyle Hamilton even though like I feel like he's an excellent player like at that like where we're at 5 and 7, but in the second like you got somebody like Jaquan Brisker,
Brisker, man, he's an animal. Damn.
you got Petrie over there as well. Like there's some guys that you could put and they could kind of do similar things, not probably on that level, but they could serve a similar role and do similar things to Kyle Hamilton. So
I mean, my outlook on it is, all right, right tackle at number 5. If I could get a trade back at 7, I'll take the trade back. But if a quality edge rusher is there or Sauce is there, I'll take it. But the one thing that I want to be able to address, and I granted that I mean, our draft picks are very limited. If I'm going after a linebacker in round 2, and you got very good linebackers there in round 2. One guy that I like the most is Christian Harris from Alabama. Now there's a couple more. I mean, don't be surprised.
I
Is
think you
that me
cut out a
cutting
little
out,
bit,
or
Rod.
it's?
Nah, I think Rod cut out a little bit.
I don't see Harris as a wink guy, but if you talking to somebody like Leo Chanel or somebody blitzes like crazy. But I
Oh,
do like Christian Harris too.
yeah, I love
But yeah,
Christian Harris.
I think there's other middle linebackers that fit Wink system a little bit better, in my opinion. But you never know. Maybe they just go best player available, make it work.
at some point, I would love to draft Brandon Smith. I think he'll really fit with our defense.
No, I
Yeah,
think
but
he would
what
fit
position does
perfect.
he? Where to even play him though? I mean, because they move, he lined up almost like safety.
Who's that?
Like that's I don't know. He's a weird player. I scouted him, man. I'm not too
Who
high
you
on him. Like
who are you talking about,
he's a
GOS?
thumper, but Brandon
Who?
Smith.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Brendan
Like he
Smith.
lined up at Penn State, they lined him up at like safety because he can't play down in the box. Once somebody gets their hands on him, he's blocked. Like he's screwed.
Yeah.
So you got to get him in the open field. So I don't
I
think
don't
he's a
know.
three down player. Maybe you can find a role for him. Just get him on the edges and maybe line him up in some deeper middle of the field. I view him more as a safety. I'll be honest with you. I don't view him as a middle linebacker, like a box
I
safety,
mean,
like a Landon Collins type player.
Yeah, for your tight ends, you could draft like a Jimmy Rucker, a Kate Oten, or a Trey McBride.
I mean, tight ends. I mean, once you start seeing one or two get taken, they're gonna start to fly off the board pretty much.
Yeah.
it's how it goes.
One guy I'm pretty high on, and if we bypass a linebacker in a second, I wouldn't mind seeing if we can pick him up later on, and that's Leo Chanel. I really, really like that kid. I mean, I really do.
He's a
That guy,
stud.
he is literally like I can honestly see him in Wink system, playing next to Blake Martinez. And if Blake, we move on from Blake, him taking over that role because he's that good. So
He's
for
an
me,
animal,
is
that's for sure.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like I said, if we're not addressing that in the second round, where I think we probably can, unless there's like a Devin Lloyd or who knows, maybe Zion Johnson lands in our lap at 36, I would definitely go with Leo Chanel later on in the rounds.
I'm
Maybe a
happy.
third, maybe third,
Even a defensive
third or
tackle,
fourth.
anything. Defensive
Yeah,
tackle, middle linebacker, safety, any of them. Edge, cornerback, any of them positions, I'm happy. Just
Did
take the
y'all?
best one.
This is kind of away from the draft talk, but how do y'all feel about, I don't know if y'all heard, but how do y'all feel about like the whole Dexter Lawrence thing? I guess he was saying that he's not, he said he's not in the best shape right now, and people are saying he looks bigger than usual.
He does. I'm not gonna lie. He looks. I saw some pictures of him earlier, and he looks a little chunkier. I'm not gonna hold you.
It's the Roman
I mean,
defensive tackle. Then we ain't got to draft a defensive tackle. Shit.
I mean, I like to see him as our nose tackle. If I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he said that he's trying to be more of a vocal leader. Um, but no, I know that shit. Let me see if I could try to pull it up. He's also balding too, dog. Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, he does look a little more chunkier. I'm not gonna hold you, especially like in like the shoulder area around his chest. Uh, Now, I mean, do the Giants, maybe think that he has to put up a little bit more weight in this defense, or I mean, do you think maybe that's just the off season?
probably the off season.
I think it's the offseason. I don't think he would say that if the Giants wanted him to, put on some more weight. I got to
He's
look.
340 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much bigger they want the guy? Damn.
yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I'm gonna try to share it. Let me see. It's gonna look crazy for a moment, but y'all just bear with me for just 2 seconds. Can y'all see that?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah, he look a little chunky. Can't even hold you.
Hey,
Like,
well, if he can, all I need him to do is play well. I care less how big he gets.
yeah,
It
no,
looks the
no,
same to
yeah.
me, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
he's
don't
been
know. I mean,
lifting. Maybe he's lifting.
I've seen him in person. And let me tell you something, dog. He is a big dude. I'm gonna try to. I got this video I'm working on. And I got some pictures with him. I mean, we were on a boat, and this man had to like walk in sideways to go through the door.
Oh,
It's like insane. And mind you, I'm like 5'10", 253 pounds at the moment, and I'm standing next to him, and I look like a kid. Like that's how big this dude is. Um,
yeah. His goal.
Shit.
You know, it's crazy. I've been to the Giants game. I feel like I'm taller than everybody on that entire team.
How
Like
tall are you?
I'm only 6'2", because everybody on
Only
He taller
everybody
than
on the team looks short.
you only 6'2"?
Yeah, because everybody on that Giants team looks short as hell.
Boy, if you don't go help out LeBron next season, anyways. Um,
If I was in
Jesus,
California,
man.
I wish.
He said only 6'2". I'd kill to be your height. Shut up, man. Like
what are you
talking
talking
like you
about?
small. But nah, man. And I actually I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Ash. I saw some fans, they were quoting Zach Rosenblatt's tweets, some from Patricia Traina, talking about Saquon's comments today. Him saying that he's playing with the killer mentality, and after the last few years, he just wants to go crazy and prove people wrong. I'll be honest, I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I am a
I love.
Saquon stan, but I mean, how are you feeling about it, dog?
I mean, I love it too. I mean, that's what we've needed. I mean,
Yep.
like, been kind of unlucky on the injury side, but I mean, when he's on the field, I don't think nobody questions his effort. He's probably one of the hardest workers in that building, to be honest. And I really like all of us want to see that rookie year Saquon. I mean, that's why a lot of us wanted him when we were picking number 2 overall.
Mhm.
Like a lot of us, want him to go back to that. And a lot of guys, I mean, on Twitter and on media, they've been really bashing this dude. Like I get he hasn't been available, but good lord, calling him mascots and everything.
Yep. Yep. and I can't stand that shit, dog. I'm gonna just be honest. I mean, you can't control, injuries and whatnot, but this kid plays with heart when he's healthy. I mean, this kid is he's just so much fun to watch. I mean, and that's why, like, I mean, I loved Odell, and I still do, but I loved watching Odell play, man, because even if I knew that, I'm always think that we gonna win the game, even if realistically we may not. But I mean, I loved watching to see what Odell was gonna do. Is he gonna do another one hander? How is he gonna catch the ball? In this game, how
Yeah,
many stats is he gonna put up? I mean, I feel the same way with Saquon. I mean, when this dude hits the hole and he gets like we saw a little bit against Washington. I mean, he finds it, he just takes the hole and goes. I don't know if we'll see, his rookie year, but I think that if we can use him in like an Alvin Kamara type way, I mean, I'm telling you, dog, I think that this kid could be special, man.
and I think that's what David wants to do. Because I mean, even think back to the rookie year. Like every time we were closing games, we're like, we're one big Saquon Barkley run away from
Yep.
being in this game or taking the lead or something like that. So Saquon opens up that, and even like for Daniel Jones, like Daniel Jones plays better when Saquon's on the field. Like,
Well, here's a question that you got to ask because we all know what he did his rookie season. He got hurt the following year. Um, he was in and out of injuries. What is this? His fourth year now or his fifth year?
this is his,
Uh,
I think,
it's fourth. Yeah.
or
The question that you had to ask is coming off of that injury and seeing how he ran. It's like, did he really have a lot of faith in his offensive line blocking for him? Because he was very hesitant hitting those holes. He always wanted to bounce it out. Everybody said that, he's just dancing back there. But how much faith did he have in that offensive line to block, let alone, I'm sorry, not block, open up holes for him to be able to get through?
I mean, can you
So
blame him though?
you're right. You're right. So I mean, he's coming off of the injury, so it's still probably a mental thing for him. And your offensive line isn't opening any holes. Of course, you're gonna get frustrated. The play calling is horrible. I honestly believe that based off of so far what I've seen with what they've done as far as addressing offensive line in the offseason, and I know they want to address it as far as the right tackle is concerned in the draft. Depending on the scheme and if they can use him, like Alvin Kamara, he can have a breakout season. He can have a breakout season.
Yeah. And look, I'll just be honest with you, man. I think that when he's healthy, I mean, this kid is just special. And I mean, I'm very interested to see how this offense is going to look with Kadarius Toney and Saquon Barkley both being on the field with a competent offensive play caller that isn't Jason Garrett. I mean, because
Oh God.
man, I mean, it's just you got to imagine that Kafka and Dable are going to play to these guys' strengths. I mean, you got to imagine. I mean, I know that we've spoken about it on previous streams, but I mean, you look at Galladay. I know some people feel that he's not a fit in this offense. I tend to disagree. I think that he could be used in a Gabriel Davis like role. I mean, but then at the same time, does Dable feel that there's a Stephon Diggs in this draft that he can go get? And that's to go back to Christopher Tony's comment. I mean, I could see it again in the second round. Maybe they feel maybe there is a player that drops, that they feel that they can't pass up on that's going to help this offense. I mean, get this kid DJ as many weapons as you can, and if it doesn't work, you're getting your next quarterback a better. You're putting him into a better situation than what DJ came to initially. So, I
Hey,
mean,
I
shit.
mean, I'm all for that. Here's a question for you guys and also the chat. Do you see Kenny Doc Galladay as a number one, or is he more of a like a glorified tight end where if you throw it up, there's a good chance he's going to get it because his route running isn't really that defined, and he wasn't really a route runner in Detroit. So the question is, if he's a number one, do you guys view him as a number one?
Nah, I got him as personally a number two if he's healthy, and that's no slight towards Kenny Galladay. I think that teams are going to recognize that you can't just put one person on Kadarius Toney. You're gonna have to really look to see where he is on the field. And then you also have Saquon Barkley. So I think that, and if we can, especially if we could draft another receiver, depending on where we draft him, I mean, he could fall to a number 3 at some point. But I think that when you look at how much he's getting paid, I think that they're going to use him as maybe that number 2. I mean, because I think that, if we don't get one in the first round, I think this offense should be run through Kadarius Toney, if I'm being honest.
I think. Well, actually, I think in some ways he is a number 1. I think if you actually use him and what he's good at down the end zone, yeah, he's gonna need attention. If he's used properly and actually thrown to and used, I think he can demand attention from safeties over the top to open up middle of the field and for others properly. So maybe he's not a number 1 like catch wise and yards wise, but I think if he's used properly down the red zone, he could be like a 1B, I'll call it. So I do think Kenny Galladay is being slept on right now by a lot of people. He's better than what some people are talking like he's trash. He can't even get a touchdown. Oh, how many plays were designed for him last year? And when we did start throwing him fades down in the end zone, they were uncatchable. They're 5 yards over his head. So let's actually get a guy in here that can scheme up some stuff for him.
Exactly, and I think maybe we're so shell shocked because of what happened last year with Jason Garrett. For the last 2 years, and basically what happened, just the utter debacle that was the offense last year. That there's a lot of what ifs as far as what Kafka and what Dable is going to do. As far as this offense is concerned, what the scheme is going to look like. So there's a lot of questions. How is Galladay going to be utilized? Are they going to get Kadarius Toney more out in space so he can do what he's got to do? Is Shepard going to be able to come back healthy and be able to, contribute the way he has, granted minus the injuries, but he's a very good route runner, very good route runner. Are they going to utilize, how are they going to utilize Saquon? All these questions because of everything that we've dealt with and seen with, the past regime. All those questions are coming out, and everybody is pretty much like wondering what's going to happen. Hey, we're all looking forward to what the season is going to be, what it's going to look like, and I think that's the biggest thing of all. Besides finally seeing whether or not DJ can have that breakout season, because he deserves it. To be honest with you, he deserves it.
And I misspoke. They schemed RPOs for him, so basically got to run a slant 4 or 5 times a day and be the main target.
Yep.
I mean, when you look at how just all of our receivers were getting schemed under Jason Garrett, I'm not entirely shocked that he didn't. I mean, actually, let me take that back. I am shocked that he didn't score a touchdown at least once. But at the same time, man, I mean, I think that really just spoke to how bad this offense was. But you got to imagine that, we're going to be putting up more points in this stable offense. Um, and again, I mean, I just want to see progression. I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but I just want to see progression. I really want to see more shots taken downfield. And I mean, as much as I think that this offense should be run through Tony, I mean, you can make the same argument with Saquon. I mean, you have 2 electric players on your offense at this point. I mean, use them. I mean, shit. I'd be very interested to see how that would play out.
You're right about that.
I mean, DMAX says he's a 2. Mark the Blue Giant says he's a 3. Taj says he's a 1B or a 2.
I mean, listen,
Uh,
this is a man that put up 10 touchdowns multiple times in his career. I mean, he's not a 3. Let's get realistic here. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't consider
I'm not
him
trying
a
to be
3.
harsh on people in the chat, but come on, man.
Yeah,
He's at a
I wouldn't
minimum of
say
2 here.
Exactly. And again, I mean, we'll see how that hip plays out this year. I know he usually just deals with the hip injury, but I mean, look, I'm gonna just say it. I was one of those fans that wanted Galladay here. I was refreshing my page like every 5 minutes to see what's going on with Galladay. Did he leave the building yet? Oh, he's here for a long period of time. We're gonna lock him up. I was really excited when Galladay was signed with the Giants. I still am. And I'm not going to treat him like he's a scrub. I mean, this dude balled out when Matthew Stafford was out over there with the Lions. I mean, how the hell do you do that? I
Well,
mean,
if he's
so
running
it's
curls and flats, I mean, who's gonna answer attention when he's running curls and flats every day, every
exactly.
snap? I mean, the whole point of having him out there is to pull the safeties over, open up stuff underneath, open up the rest of the field. That's what the number 1 really does, other than just produce. You
Yeah.
open up for everybody else.
I'll tell you what. I mean, if you get Tony more involved, I mean, you got Saquon out there as well. You can also put him in um, on the outside too. I mean, you're gonna get a lot of matchups where Galladay's one on one. And I mean, if I'm an
How many
offensive
jump
coordinator,
balls do
that's
they
what I
throw?
want.
His squad,
Damn
how
near
many jump
none.
balls we throw?
Damn near none. And that's why we brought
He
him
got
in.
what, 2 fades in the end zone once what's dickhead took over in the second half of the year
Yeah, and I think the only
when the
one that
fourth
was really
string quarterback
completed
was
was
throwing.
Jake Fromm. Yeah, I think that was against Dallas.
When the offense was clicking in that Saints game, he was a big reason won that game, and that was on a big slant route he caught at the end of the game down there. And he broke a
Yeah,
tackle and ripped off like a 40-yard play. So our biggest win, he was the big part of it. I mean,
yeah, he
the
was a
offense was
big
just
factor.
horrendous. Let's not base the guy's whole career off last year's offense. Holy moly.
The three players that were really a big reason as to why we won that game are players that we're talking about right now. You look at Tony, Galladay, Saquon Barkley. I mean, they played their asses off in that game. I mean, and that's what gets me excited, with Brian Dable. Obviously, we don't know how this offense is going to be with him and Kafka, but you got to imagine it's got to be better than the shit that we saw on the field last year. It's got to be better than what we saw last year, especially if we can at least get ourselves a right tackle, man. I mean, shit. I mean, at least give this offense a chance. I mean, I just want to see progression. That's all I
I think
want
it's
to see
better
is
even
just
without a
growth.
right tackle. I mean, we had Nate Soldier last year. That dude was just, you could walk him around.
Yeah,
Safety cone.
The guy was embarrassing. He
That's
was
what
like
he
a fucking stroller.
was.
What's the old people? What do they call them things? They push around wheels on it. That's what that
Walker.
cocksucker
Oh,
was.
the
It's a walker.
Yeah, he was a
the
walker, man.
He wasn't no walker. Those things move
On
better than him.
wheels. He was a wheeled walker, that motherfucker.
He wasn't even that. Shoot, he was a safety cone, literally a traffic barrel. That's all he
Yeah,
was, man.
something you
Just
have to
run
run
around.
around or push, tip
That's
over to
it.
get over.
um, and again, actually, wait. Let me get to this question. DMAC asked. He says, "Do you see us trading up at any point in the draft?" That's a good question. What do y'all think?
I I don't think we have the draft capital to put together to do that unless you're giving up picks next year. It
Yeah.
really wouldn't make sense to do it because we're not like a few pieces away to where you can trade up to get it to fill a need or a hole that you
Well,
have.
if you're only
To
moving up like
me,
one spot, it's probably a third and a fifth or something, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, and what are you really
there's
giving
a
up?
point
Maybe just
system that all teams
yeah.
go by this point system. I can't
Yeah.
remember what they call it, but
I
Actually,
I
wouldn't
don't
I
want
see a
can
us to
point
pull
in
it
do
up
moving
that.
up.
real quick.
Yeah, I wouldn't want us to move up. I would want us to trade back to be able to, at least help with that financial obligation of,
They're not
signing
taking
the
a
draft
quarterback, I
picks.
don't think. So if you move up, maybe you're scared you're going to lose out on any kind of a tackle. That's all I can think of. But I mean, I don't think that the Jets just signed Locke and Tomlinson. They got their other dickhead first round tackle coming back.
Well,
So
he's a
I
big
mean,
question mark for them.
I don't. I'd take him right now. I don't know about you.
Who,
Give me.
Becton?
Yeah, I'd take him right now.
I mean,
That's
I
a
think
hard
he's.
pass for me.
I mean, I think if he could stay healthy, then you got yourself something there. But that's his
That
problem. He can't stay healthy.
name that for any
That's
player nowadays.
that's
I
a
understand,
hard pass for
but
me.
for him, man, I think his weight plays a lot into it, man. I
He
mean, he's
stays
a big.
healthy. You look like a fool for saying that big blue corner.
You're right. You're right. But that's a. I mean, I'm just saying, man. If he comes back and he plays a lot better, fine. But if not, like I said, it's a hard pass because I had questions about him when he was coming out.
But who's our
The
right
guy is
tackle right
very
now?
big.
Who's our right? Because you're choosing our right tackle right now on the team over Becton. Who's our right tackle right now? Corey Cunningham. You'd rather have Corey
Uh,
Cunningham than Mekhi Becton? Dude was straight up dominant when he was on the field.
hey, I will give it to him. Yes, he's a dominant, but can he stay healthy? That's the question.
Can't anybody
I
stay
mean,
healthy nowadays, man? It's crazy the
I
way
just think he.
injuries are.
I just think he got
Yeah.
to lose a little bit of weight to be real with you. But other than that, I mean, I don't question his play. I think that again,
I take.
if he could stay healthy, you got something there. But I know that some Jets fans feel that he may not even be on the roster next year. So I
They're out
mean,
of there. They're high off the ass. Jets fans are confused anyways.
I've been saying, man, I think they should take Sauce if I'm being real with you. Not just because I want Kayvon more than anything, which y'all know I do, but I just think that you look at that division, man. I mean, who do you have that's gonna guard Tyreek and Waddle? who's going to guard Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
who's throwing them the ball though? Who's their quarterbacks here?
yeah, I mean, you got Tua, but then you also got Josh Allen at that
Well,
point.
Tua's good for some 5-yard throws. I mean,
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, shit,
Who's
you
the other
see them do
quarterback?
a bunch
Two
of
5-yard
crosses.
up with Tyreek and Jayden Waddle there. Tua's gonna have a monster year on them 5-yard slants.
Boy,
I
we gonna
bet.
see like 600 slants next year. I'm telling you, dog.
Man. We're gonna see 20 pick plays every freaking play, every game.
God, yes, Neymar. I definitely want Neil or Aquanu, man. I mean, if we could get Aquanu, I'm stoked. But if we could get Neil, man, I mean, I'd freak out, man.
This
I'll
fan
just be
base is
honest.
gonna kill Iquanu. Right? Like he's gonna have a rough year at right tackle. This fan base will destroy him. You better be mentally tough.
We should have took it, Neil. We should have took Cross. Like,
Yeah.
I,
give him a chance,
Look
man.
at Cross. Look at Will he's doing.
I
Yeah.
think Giants. I think Akeem is my tackle number 3, or like in terms of the Giants, just because I think that obviously Neil is number 1 because he's like literally such a great prospect. But I think for the Giants, I think Cross kind of fits what Brian Dable wants to do more than Akeem. That's just
I feel like in the short term, maybe the first 2 years, Cross would be the better move. I just feel like the potential of Iquanu, man. But if he's not mentally tough, you got to move on. I mean, because this fan base is going to jump him, man. Look what they did with Andrew Thomas. That poor kid. He's out there hurt in the worst offense in the league, surrounded by idiots, basically. Had a little while with Shane Lemieux, I guess. It was decent for
I
him.
do hope that his ankle gets better this season. But even with that, I mean, if he's playing on a bum ankle, I mean, I didn't notice last year. I mean, dude looked like a stud for us. And I mean, I think there was definitely quite a few things that played into his rookie season. I mean, we could all have a difference of opinions for it. I definitely think them changing his technique a little bit compared to what he was doing in college fucked him up a little bit. I mean, I know his offensive line coach said that they were making him do things that he wasn't doing in college. That weren't his strengths. And then you see Joe Judge come in and I don't want to say coach him up, but I guess you could say coach him up. And he starts playing better. And then last year he looked like the left tackle that we drafted him to be.
It's all about hand play with Thomas, man. If he can get that first little connection right, because he's one of them dudes that come in sideways. You know what I mean? When they come in to punch, it's all about hand play with him. All about hand fighting with him. You get that right, and if he could be a lockdown tackle.
At the same time, man, I mean, in terms of Iquanu, he could come in and literally ball at right tackle. I mean, we could sit here and say that he could have, a rough start, but he could absolutely come in here and ball. I mean, because I don't know. I believe Glowinski's going to be playing right guard, right? Or is he going to be switching?
But here's why I say that. Because it is Glowinski. Glowinski is not going to be he's not going to be a big help to a rookie. He's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to dominate in the run game. But he's not Kevin Zeitler. He's not the guy that's going to look out for his tackle. He's going to be on an island out there. And they pass. And the thing is Dable's going to pass a lot. So, and he's an oversetter. He oversets. His inside is going to get destroyed. It is what it is. He's going to have to learn to trust himself. He's going to have to learn technique.
I mean, I will say this much. I do feel more comfortable with Glowinski on the right side than I do with Will Hernandez being there. Which sucks to say. I'm going to just be honest with you. But I just feel that, if we were approaching the draft right now saying, one of these rookie tackles are going to be paired with Will Hernandez, I mean, I'm a little worried for the tackle. But now with Glowinski, it's like, obviously it's a wait and see approach, but I have a little bit more faith that, he'll be a little bit better than what we had in Will Hernandez. Or at least that's what we hope. So, shit.
I think he's like I think Glowinski is exactly what we kind of thought, what we hoped Hernandez would turn into.
I agree.
So in a weird kind of way, we kind of signed our Will Hernandez, like what we expected from him when we drafted him. We kind of got what we wanted.
We still have Matt Garcia from the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, so we'll see how that plays out. I think that's more of a depth, thing. I mean, let's see if he makes the team. But I do see him as depth more than anything. So
I got big hopes for Shane Lemieux, man. That's my guy. I think Shane Lemieux is going to be really good.
What about
guys? Well, guys, I gotta hop off, man. I gotta get back to work.
No, no problem, man. No problem. I was actually about to close the stream all just because I'm very late to a dinner that I had to go to. But look, I appreciate everyone that stopped by. I appreciate Ash and Jayden jumping on the stream. For real, man, this was a hell of a time. Ash's link as well as Jayden's Big Blue Corner and Giant Opinions links to their channels will be in the description below. You guys can click that there to find them. Do me a favor and go subscribe to their channel. Um, if y'all want to get any last thoughts out before we sign off, by all means, the floor is yours.
Let's go Big Blue.
I need
That's what I gotta
30. I
say.
need 30 subscribers for 1,000. Do it, you sons of bitches. Get me there.
And I need 44. So please, I need 44 to 500. But yeah,
Well, let's go Big Blue.
but shit,
That's what I
man.
gotta say.
If that's all we gotta say, man. I mean, again, I appreciate everyone stopping by, and we'll
Oh,
see y'all on the next episode, man.
go Giants.
Yes, sir.
Go Giants.